Hello, everyone. Today I'm excited to bring to you another interview that I did with an early retiree earlier in the week. I want to share with you the questions, the answers, a few stories and insights that I learned. So let's get going. This person retired early. He is now in his early 70s. He is married and he does have a wife that's 4 or 5 years younger. So let's get into it. I'm going to call this retiree Bob. That's not his real name, but just for the purposes of this video, I'll refer to him as Bob. I asked Bob what his perspective was on retiring when he was in his 20s and 30s. And he said he didn't think much about it, but he had always been a saver. And he definitely wanted to make sure that he was in good shape financially whenever the time came for him to retire. So he contributed to retirement plans, pension plan that he had access to early on, and then a 401k later. He shared the story where he said he was very fortunate to have this happen to him in about his mid-30s. His wife was out of town, and one weekend he happened upon an infomercial that was talking about saving money and then using that money that you saved by investing in mutual funds. He said it was the most expensive thing that he had purchased without checking with his wife first. It cost about $300. So he went to the seminar. He came away with a big binder full of information and tips about saving money, such things as avoiding whole life insurance, use term insurance, saving your tax refund, things of that nature. And then taking that money and investing it in mutual funds. So that information gave him the confidence to go ahead, open up a brokerage account, and start saving money and investing those savings in mutual funds. And he said it really set him up for the ability to retire early later in life. So he's very thankful that that happened to him. I asked him when did he get serious about retirement planning, and he said he did in his upper 50s. Up until that point, he was a do-it-yourself investor. He had done all his investing himself without any assistance, and he decided for this next season of life that he really did want to have some assistance just to make sure that he was thinking through and thought of everything and got it right because he knew how important it was. So he sought out advice of a financial planner and started using that planner going forward. At what age did he retire? He retired at the age of 62. I asked him, how do you know it's the right time for him to retire? And he shared that he had been very happy with his job for the last 40 years, but had increasingly become very discontent with his job. He said his company had been bought out, it was under new ownership, and he didn't really like all the things that were going on. So that was the real reason why he decided to retire early. Also, he was thinking through, he knew that he was in good health and he wanted to take advantage of the time that he experienced this good health to do the things he wanted to do in retirement. Also, he, of course, sought out the advice of a financial advisor who also gave him the green light to go ahead and go forward. He also said that around the same time he was thinking of retiring, that he read a book. It was one of those New York Times, top 10 best-selling books at the time. Now, this was quite a long time ago. And the name of the book was Retire on Less Than You Think. And he said after reading that book, that really convinced him that he was in good financial shape and he should go ahead and pull the trigger to retire early. When Bob decided to retire, he made himself 2 promises. Promise number 1, he would not nap during the day. Promise number 2, he would not turn on the TV during the day. He felt like that he needed to commit himself to remain healthy and active and doing intellectually stimulating things such as reading, things of that nature, in order for him to have a successful retirement. So I thought that was very interesting. I asked Bob how he handled healthcare in early retirement. He said that he initially was on COBRA for the first, 17 or 18 months that's available to you. And then afterwards, at the time, his wife actually took a job that provided health coverage for he and his wife. So he used that health insurance up until the point where he turned 65 and applied for Medicare. I asked Bob about which Medicare he signed up for. And he said this is another interesting story. When he was approaching the time where he decided, where he would turn 65, he was very confused about all the Medicare options. He had been sent all this information. It was all seemed really confusing and didn't make sense to him. However, he happened upon a seminar that was at a local university that he signed up for and attended that was conducted by an independent insurance agent. And he said that agent did a wonderful job of explaining all the different complexities and nuances of Medicare and all the options available and things of that nature. So afterwards, he ended up contacting that independent agent, sitting down with him. He and the agent went through his situation, and they decided that traditional Medicare with a Medigap coverage would be the best option for him. So that's what he initially signed up for. He found 3 or 4 years later, again, sitting down with that same health insurance agent, they decided that it would be best for him to go ahead and change to a Medicare Advantage plan. He is very healthy, been in great shape, has not had a lot of medical expenses, and the traditional Medicare with Medigap was a fairly expensive cost for him. So he ended up switching over to a Medicare Advantage plan, and he's been happy with that plan so far. He had some thoughts on retirement and insight that I wanted to share with you. He said, I asked him about his thoughts on a successful retirement. He said, a great retired life is like a 3-legged stool, and it consists of 3 different things. The first thing is your health. You have to have good health in order to have a good retirement. The second thing is a little bit of wealth, or I think he said just enough wealth, where you are financially comfortable and can do the things that you would like to do. And then the third thing he said was freedom. And he felt like if you have all those 3 things, then you will have a very good and a successful retirement. And he went on to explain, if you don't have your health, then it doesn't matter if you have freedom and wealth, because if you don't have your health, you really don't have anything. He also shared, again, if you have your health and you have just enough wealth, but you don't have the freedom, say that you continue to work and you don't have that freedom to do what you want when you want to do it, with who you want to do it with, then again, that's not a successful retirement to him. And then obviously if you have your health and you have freedom, but you don't have enough wealth, then again, you're not going to have a very successful retirement. So it was very insightful. I really enjoyed that. I asked him what his strategy was for taking Social Security. And he had worked out with his advisor where his wife was going to go ahead and take Social Security when she reached full retirement age, and that he would wait till 70 to take it. However, when COVID came along and the stock market took a pretty good plunge, and I think he said it was in 2022. so in 2022, his advisor reached out to him and said, hey, your retirement investments have taken a hit. Let's go ahead and have you apply for Social Security, and that will give some time and some breathing room for your retirement investments to come back. And he thought, yeah, that makes sense. So he ended up taking Social Security a few years early, and it did help. His retirement investments did come back, and he was very satisfied with going ahead and taking Social Security then. I asked him about when or has he completed estate planning, and he said he, of course, was not one to spend money that he didn't have to spend. So up until the time they retired, he had not spent the money to work with a lawyer, to have a will, to consider a trust, to have all those type of documents you need to have at end of life. But the first year that he retired, he did go ahead, he spent the money, worked with a lawyer, and got all those documents and everything needed in place. I asked him his thoughts on long-term care insurance, and he responded that he did not think that that was a good use of money, and his intention was to maintain his health and focus on his health and to stay in good health up until the day he dies. He has older parents. They're in their early to mid 90s, and they're well and they're healthy. So he has every reasonable expectation that as long as he continues to take care of himself, that he will also live a nice, long, healthy life. However, he said if something unexpected came up and his health deteriorated and he needed extra care, that he would self-fund that. I asked him about his plan to age in place. And he said that when he first retired, he and his wife downsized. They had a big house. They didn't need it anymore. They ended up selling the house and selling a bunch of things that were in the house as well. And he decided it would be best for he and his wife to go ahead and rent. They initially rented just a one-bedroom, I don't know if it was an apartment or townhome. And then after a little bit of time, they ended up upsizing a little bit to a townhome that has a couple extra bedrooms. That way, when his kids and grandkids come to visit them, then they have a place to stay. And he felt like that worked very well for their lifestyle. He did not want to have to take care of a house, do the yard work, have to buy the equipment, the lawnmower, or pay someone to do that yard work. And that allows he and his wife to really focus on doing the things they want to do. They're very active. Their townhome is very close to a trail where they get out and they walk and they ride bikes and are very active. And he felt like that was really the best living situation for him. I asked Bob about how he handles taxes. And he said he had handled taxes himself for most of his life, but once he got into retirement, he decided that there was enough complexity that he would go ahead and pay someone else to handle his taxes. So that's how he handled his taxes. I asked him if there was one piece of advice that he would like to share with other folks preparing to retire early. He suggested and said that for him, start saving early was really key and important that he would want everyone to know. And the second thing was he really felt like that book, Retire on Less Than You Think, is a good resource to consider. I've looked up the book. It is fairly old. I have not read it, but something worth considering. So those are my Q&A with a retiree. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this content. Again, my name is Walter, and I have this channel to share tips and encouragement for those people that are considering retiring or retiring early. If you did enjoy this comment, please like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know that you enjoy this type of content that I'm providing as I interview retirees. All right, take care.